Salvia divinorum changed my life. It was 2011, 7 years ago, holy crap. I was 19. My friend was recording the experience on a camera, and what he saw was obviously similar to what you've seen already on YouTube. People freaking out and spazzing out and screaming. And to be frank, it looks like they're losing their minds. But what you're seeing on the outside, compared to what's happening from the person's perspective, is a completely different experience. You see, those who watch this channel, you obviously are aware of the fact that psychedelics are a great benefit to mankind. For those who don't watch this channel, who may not be aware of the benefits of psychedelics, you need to take the time to get caught up with the recent information, because the implications are profound. This experience had a profound effect on the way I look at reality. I smoked Salvia, 60x, out of a bong, in a bowl that was packed to the brim. I took the toke and I held it in for approximately 10 seconds before the experience began. Much like a roller coaster ride, the anticipation was great, and much like a roller coaster ride, the dive was even greater. I took the bong toke. I exhaled after 10 seconds, and the room itself began peeling away like cheese string. I looked upon my own hand, and each extremity began peeling away like cheese string. Reality itself began peeling away, revealing the truth that lies behind the veil. From there, obviously the anxiety began to kick in. My ego was scared of what was happening. You see, your ego is your identity of self that's been programmed to self-preserve. It's been programmed to keep you alive in this body. And any experience that would shake up the very fundamentals of your understanding of reality is an experience that your ego is afraid of, because your ego has constructed a specific frame of reference to view reality, filtering information through this frame of reference so that you may preserve your sense of self and sense of culture and sense of place in this world. But what psychedelics do is that they completely shake up that frame of reference, destroying it, forcing you to look at the world through an unfiltered perspective, a perspective that is, in a sense, a higher perspective. Because you see, your brain is constantly filtering out reality. In fact, we only perceive a fraction of what's really there. This is known in modern science. So with that understanding, it's not unreasonable to say that psychedelics lessen the filtration of information, allowing your brain to perceive what is actually there, the reality that is unknown to us, a reality that is unknown to us during our waking state of consciousness. So, what was happening from my perspective was me looking past the veil that is reality, that is our idea of reality, our interpretation of reality, from a societal perspective to an interdimensional perspective, meaning on a societal level, I saw past all the social constructs that we adhere to that keeps us locked in a certain frame of reference. But on a interdimensional level, I literally saw how this physical realm was nothing more than matter that was held together by specific forces in nature. I visually saw that as the room was peeling away, it revealed the fact that there is no room. There is only just atoms, and there's only just atoms. Not even between me and everything else. There's only just atoms everywhere at all times, because everything is just molecules and atoms and energy and forces of that energy that hold it all together, and the interdimensional forces that hold all that together. So with that in mind, I saw an entity. I saw an entity that looked at me right in the eyes and said to me, "You are going to die, and there's nothing that you could do about it. And when it happens, you just have to go with the experience. You just have to let go and go with it." Now, this may very well have been my subconsciousness, but I find it very interesting that I literally visually saw an entity that was more real than the person that was recording the fucking experience. So naturally, I was freaking out. Naturally, I did not want to die in that moment. So my ego, my defense mechanism, was holding on to life was holding on to the familiar, scared of what was about to transpire. I didn't want to die, but it was happening. this was what people this this was similar to what people describe in near-death experiences. If not, this was what people describe in near-death experiences, because what I saw right after that moment was a tunnel of light. But that tunnel of light wasn't just simply a tunnel with a light at the end of it. This is absolute truth, by the way. I literally saw Quetzalcoatl, the snake god of the Mayan religion, the feathered serpent. He opened his mouth, and in his esophagus was the tunnel of light as he began to consume me. Now, this all happened just after the entity told me I was going to die and there's nothing I could do about it, and I have to just simply go with it and not be afraid, allow the experience to transpire. But right after he said that, he began cutting up my body into pieces, ripping out my eyes out of my esophagus, my teeth out of my skull, all the pieces of my body, ripping them apart. And how I interpreted this was me shedding away my body. This entity literally picked apart my physical form and peeled away all the layers of my humanity until he reached the source of what I am, my soul. And there was no David al-Badri. There was no identity. There was no feeling of a perspective in this world. My whole life, everything that I was, everything that I am, all of that was peeled away until I was just... there was no I. There was no I. It was just a witness to the beginning and end of the universe as we know it. You see, when he peeled away my body, and when Quetzalcoatl swallowed me up, I went through the tunnel. And that tunnel, like faster than the speed of light, just going through until I reached that other side, which was everything. I reached the point of self-actualization, understanding that there is no I. There is only a witness, and it is only one witness. We are all that one thing, witnessing and manifesting itself into all manifestations of reality. All these thoughts were coming to me. All these realizations were occurring during the transition between who I thought I was as a person, as a human being, to what I actually am, the universe experiencing itself. So these sequence of events, which, by the way, this experience, it's like trying to remember a dream. You're not going to get all the exact details, but the details that I will provide to you are details that have stuck with me for the rest of my life. Details that have fundamentally changed my perspective of reality. So this experience, I truly believe that I died and came back. The whole sequence of events, the feeling of impending doom, accepting that I am not in control, accepting that this is part of the natural process of life. The feeling I got during this experience, this sounds so weird, but I feel like I've only entered this state of being during my birth, during my dreaming states, and during death. Now, I've experienced near-death experiences before, but nothing like this. This was something that was akin to my birth and my death. This is a point to which you return to during these states, during these moments in time that all string together behind the scenes of your waking life. The transition between a physical being to a higher dimensional being, to the perspective that everything is interconnected to one, and the bliss that came, the feeling I got when I was there on the other side, I did not want to come back. Because this reality, much like in the Gnostic belief system, it is like a prison for the soul. You're constrained and confined within the shell of the body, within your home, within the society. It's all just confinements within confinements. There's no words in the English language or in any language that could describe what it was like to experience and be in the higher dimensions. It's like, the best way I could possibly put it is that this universe and all of reality and all the dimensions, it's all like an amoeba. It's all just one thing. And it's living. My second experience of Salvia was a weaker experience. I did not reach that threshold. I was venturing to that horizon, but I did not reach it and pass through it, much like how I did in the first experience. That first experience was legit a life-changing experience, similar to what people describe in their DMT experiences. DMT, when you smoke it, it launches you into the other dimension. There's no easing your way into it. Psychedelics predominantly ease you into these alternate states of consciousness. But when you smoke Salvia divinorum, when you smoke DMT, you are launched into that higher dimension with no preparation, with no sense of narrative. You're just like it's just happening. And it was a scary. This is the scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life. I'll never do it again, because I feel like that was enough. That one experience shook me to my core and confirmed the descriptions of higher realities in spiritual traditions. It explains what these people are describing in quantum mechanics, how the universe is an illusion, how what we're perceiving is not actually what is at the fundamental level. These experiences are important for anyone so that they can see past the illusion that is the matrix that we're in. They will be able to decode reality and see reality for what it actually is. Yeah, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my content, to share my content, and wow, 10,000 subscribers, I don't even know what to say, man. That is unbelievable. I never thought that would happen. Thank you. I love you all so much. And for those who are not even subscribing or watching this and you made it this far, thank you for taking the time to watch. Thank you so much. I love you all.